a good show for you today on this Wednesday. On game day eve, our Chicago Bears traveled to Seattle for a second preseason game in hopes that we can get a display of this offense featuring Tevin Jenkins at right guard. And we'll get a chance to look at some of our players that we haven't seen so far, like Velus Jones Jr. and Cole Kmet, perhaps, maybe. We don't know. And then also our new fullback, Corey, I believe, Blasingame. We want to look forward to seeing some of those talent. Will we see Robert Quinn on tomorrow? Will we see some of our defensive stars on next week? Kyler Gordon, our rookie first round draft pick cornerback. Will we get a chance to see him? Will Brisker continue to play? Lots of questions remain. Do me a favor, tap into the show. I'm going to restart the show for the sake of the recording, and we're going to get into it. So tap in. Y'all know what's next. Cue the intro maestro. Contra.
Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence. On the road to them Benjis, I fill my teeth with diamonds. I'm high as fuck in the sky, you would've thought I'm pilot. I'm from Chicago, it get ugly, fill the streets with violence. Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence.
Past, present, future. We bear down.
And just like that, we're back again. Y'all give y'all boys, Coach T, some grace, man. Listen, middle of the week show. I'm off schedule. But do me a favor, as you come in the comment section, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And then also, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, at Bears360_Coach T. Again, if you're watching this on the playback, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because when you subscribe to the channel, you become one of these members of our special group called Field Soldiers. Yeah, that's right. Shout out to all the Field Soldiers out there. Those that have subscribed and subscribed to the channel over the last 10 months. Over 2,000, coming up on 23,000 subscribers, 2,300 subscribers. I wish 23,000. Freudian slippage there. But yeah. Thankful you guys for subscribing to the channel. Listen, we have an all defensive focus show today. I'm going to get into some playbook, into some concepts after getting a chance to review some of the film footage today and check out the defensive performance on this past Saturday in our preseason game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I was a little bit surprised on the film footage from a concept standpoint. I was looking to see something a little bit different, especially in a preseason game, understanding what our core defense is supposed to do, and then also having had the opportunity to review some of the footage in Indy of Coach Eberflus's defense. Not saying that we changed all of that, but we have a different variation than what I expected. Not good, not bad. It's just a diagnosis of what we saw in the film. So looking forward to jumping into that and talking about that. Talking about a little bit of personnel stuff. Again, hopefully Swifty get a chance to join us a little bit later on the show to see what his takes are and his perspective and what he thought of the defense and some of the personnel in the defense. So without further ado, man, we're going to jump straight into it, man. I just want to bring this up on the screen quickly, because I think it matters. In the big scheme of things, it matters. But we did get a chance, like I said, to look at some of the film footage, and I wanted to take a look at that. So one of the first things I noticed is we did play a lot of 2 high safety in a classic Tampa 2 look, but what I thought was a little bit was unexpected for what I thought we would do was we played a lot of 8-man boxes with Wk1 Brisker down in the box, playing in the box, which while I wasn't surprised to see Wk1 Brisker playing down in the box, I was surprised at the amount of 8-man boxes we would see. And when you hear me talk about 8-man boxes, you'll see me counting the men, kind of playing towards the line of scrimmage. So right here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you're going to see later on I'm a record, or I'm gonna let the film play sparingly, because YouTube's like to flag me for copyright infringement. But you're gonna see Jaquan kind of creep down in the box and play here with the 8-man box, and then I want to get into what that kind of tells as far as coverage, what coverages we can surmise out of that when we have an 8-man box, and then how we, what teams can do to attack us, and what we need to be mindful for of as we come out of when we go into those looks, what we need to be probably looking for as fans, that we can look out for potentially as problems, or how we can win in those solutions right there, in those areas right there. So I want to talk about that. So let's jump into it again. I want to talk about that. Let's jump into it again. Let's take a look at specifically the film footage right here. So again, 7-man box right now, and most teams do this. I think me and Sweet were talking about this earlier. They play around with the 7, the safety, bringing them down in the box, disguising coverages. You'll see some team float the safety in this area right here to disguise the coverage. But again, our identity, as we've announced it, is a Tampa 2, which you'll see a 2-high safety look here, and we'll play 2-man and 2-zone underneath, which we did some during the game, but we played more 8-man boxes than I expected, again, with Jaquan Brisker. That's why you probably saw him around the ball a lot, why you saw him on display a lot during this first preseason game. Not saying it'll be there all the time, but that's what we saw this week. So when we see an 8-man box, when we see Jaquan kind of step up in this area, I'll use this right here, my little pointer here to highlight it. When we see Jaquan step up in this area right here, what is that telling us in terms of coverage, right? Let me fast forward this a little bit. What is that telling us in terms of coverage? What that's telling us, and you can see Jaquan is actually in a box by the snap of the ball right here, right? What is that telling us in terms of coverage? So now, because Jaquan is in the box, we have single high safety. We have the corners on the island on outside. Remember, I did the video that told you guys how to read coverages. So we count the safeties, SDL, right? So safeties, the number of safeties, the depths of the cornerbacks, and then their leverage, right? So prior to this play, and I won't back up from this look right here, but what I'll say is prior to this play, you can see Jalen Johnson was already opening up his hips and turning as if he was going to run and cover this outer third, right? So if you split the field into thirds, right, Jalen will have this third, the single high safety will have this third, and the cornerback here will have this third, right? All right, so that would tell me if he's turning and running, that's cover 3. Now, the only thing it can go from there is it can be a straight up cover 3, or it can be a cover 3 match, right? That way, or it could be man-to-man coverage, right? But if you get it wrong, you can pretty much guess cover a man coverage or cover 3, right? I mean, it's the nuances are subtle, especially between cover 3 and cover 3 match, right? Very subtle nuances. So again, it was a little bit of a surprise to see this early in the defense because what you would classically like to understand from your defense, and again, it's not right or wrong. I'm not judging the defensive calls or something like this, but typically what you would like to find out with your defense early on, especially if you're going to claim to run a Tampa 2, is if you will be able to stop the run with your front 7, with your core front 7, right? So if we move Jaquan back out of the box like he is right here, you want to know, hey, with my front 7, can I stop the run, right? Now, this is a little bit of a spread formation, right? This is what I would call a loose spread gun tight look, right? So you have 2 wide receivers. You have 2 guys split out here, and you got 2 guys kind of tight right here. So loose spread gun, left tight or something like that, I would call that. So it's more of a passing formation. And then even more, well, it's run or pass. I wouldn't commit necessarily to it being a pass formation. You got to account for uh, outside zone here, and then you also have to account for RPOs here. So naturally, we walk the safety up in the box to play against an 8-man look. But what I would surmise from all of this is Alan Williams has made a decision about how he wants to attack opponents, right? And that's why I said typically you would stay in your two high safety look and try to stop things with a two shell look or a two high safety look, 2-man, 2-zone. See what you can accomplish with your front 7. See if you can get there with your front 4 in a pass rush, and see if you can stop the run with your front 7. And then you make your decisions about how you want to use your safety from there. But apparently, Allen has already decided that, hey, I have a dog, right? I have a dog at the strong safety, so I'm not even going to play games with it, right? If I see something, right, that looks like run, I'm going to bring my guy down in the box and I'm going to play ball with him, right? I'm going to let him play ball in the box. We're going to stop the run for sure, right? We're going to go with a single high look, right, which is either cover 3 or cover man. I believe this particular play, they were in man coverage. Now let this play out a little bit. They were in man coverage and they just manned up and they end up stopping the run, right? They ended up stopping the run. So that's my overall kind of, you know, takeaway from watching the film, that Alan Williams he's gonna basically allow these guys to play ball. He's not gonna sit back on his heel and let offenses dictate to him what he does on defense. He's gonna play ball. He's gonna be aggressive. He's gonna basically play offense on defense, meaning an attacking style defense with this scheme and scheme up players like Brisker, maybe like the other safeties or the nickel corners when Kyler Gordon gets back, that he's going to scheme up certain players to do certain things to play an attacking style defense rather than sit back in a too high safety look, 2-man, 2-zone, and allow offense to pick them apart. Now, I will say on this drive, apparently, and everybody saw that Kansas City basically, drove down the field and scored on us on the first drive. And then the touchdown was a too high safety look. So maybe, Allen was onto something by going with 8 in the box, confusing and disguising the coverage by moving the safety around, floating them back and forth between the top of the box and not, right? And then when he goes too high safety look, they basically hit the long touchdown. So maybe he was on that, onto something when he did that. And, it cost him the touchdown in the preseason game. But again, that was something that I thought was unique, that I didn't expect. I was expecting us to kind of sit back with this young rookie class and just, understand what we had in terms of a new team, new players, new system, new scheme, and do what we could do with the front 7 and then make things happen later, probably later on in the game. But Allen basically didn't read my script that I wanted to go by. And good on him for that. So, Coach T, what's the challenges with playing 8-man boxes? Good. I'm glad you asked. We're going to cover that in Coach T's playbook segment. Let's get right to it. What are the challenges if we're going to play an 8-man box a lot of the times? Not saying if we are or not. I'm just going off of the film I saw and diagnosing what I saw and coming up with what my concerns would be with an 8-man box. Obviously, you should be able to stop the run with 8-man boxes. But if you're going to sit back in man coverages, right? Man coverage, odd number coverages, cover 1, which is man coverage, cover 3 and cover 3 match. You need to be prepared. You need to have some things figured out, right? You need to have some things figured out if you're going to do that. And so I'm going to bring up the playbook, and we're going to talk about that in the playbook section real fast. So let me go to this real fast, and we're going to draft some things up. Hopefully you guys can see, and we're going to talk about it real soon. All right. Hopefully you can see that pretty good. I'm going to draft up, I think, about 2 or 3 different looks and things that we need to be concerned about or we should look out for as fans if we're going to play in that box. Again, I love the fact, you know what I'm saying, all power to him, do what you do, Alan Williams. But one of the questions I asked earlier on Herb Howard's Spaces was, if we're going to indeed do that, right? If we're going to indeed play 8-man boxes, and let me come up with some kind of spread formation that I feel like we should be able to cover. Here, let's go with a tight end here, and let's go in gun here. All right, boom. What do I think our challenge is going to be? And Nomad said it. You got to be able to trust your corners. So, right, if we marketed ourselves as a cover two team, right, and we drafted players that fit a cover two or Tampa 2 system, meaning the whole focus has to be, or the primary focus is, you have guys that play with their eyes facing the quarterback, right? Their eyes on the quarterback all the time, right? So if we go to this system where we have, where we're going to play 8-man boxes, and again, we count the 8 men here. You have your defensive end, right? And we're going to shade him to the strength, right? We're going to put our tackle in the 3 technique, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3. We're going to put him in the 3 technique. Backer's going to step in this gap. This guy's in this gap. This guy's in this gap. And we're going to play this D end kind of head up, right? That's our 8-man or 7-man box, right? But to Nomad said it, you have to be able to trust your corners on the outside, right? Because you're leaving them pretty much on the island, right? So you bring this safety, single high safety up here, and you're bringing this safety down in the box like we just saw on the previous play where we had Wk1 step into the box, right? What you're saying is my corners in man coverage or cover 3, they have to be able to play and run and play with their back to the quarterback, meaning they're not going to see when the ball is coming. They have to have excellent run skills and ball skills when it comes to playing the ball when it's in the air, knowing when receivers stick their hands out and they're going to receive the ball, potentially catch the ball. Like, they got to have really good ball skills because, of course, in man, they're manned up, right? Tight end is going to be belong to the safety. The backer's going to have first back out of the backfield this side. Actually, in this formation, this is either going to be an outside backer or a nickel, right? So like we just saw in the play I just showed, they're going to be looking a little bit like this, right? So backers locked up on the slot, or nickels locked up on the slot. This backer has in man has back his side. This backer has back his side. Safety's locked up with the tight end, right? And these guys are on the island, right? So they have to be able to play ball. You have to trust them. The other thing is you have to trust, right? And this is the question I asked on Herb's Spaces is, you have to trust that your safety, Eddie, why is it skipping my name right fast? Damn, I had a brain cramp. Had an old man moment right there. Eddie's is going to have to be on his mark. He can't take false steps, right? He can't be, he's going to have to make sure he's taking true steps. So snapping the ball, backpedaling first, and then he'll have to read and be where he's supposed to be. And when I said he has to cover all 53 1/3 yards wide of the field, I mean he has to cover from sideline to sideline because he's the last line of defense, right, for the defense. He has to be able to get to this sideline and this sideline in case one of these guys get beat, right? And so my concern is, if you're going to play 8-man boxes, do we trust our corners? So based off his willingness to do it, apparently either you're doing one of 2 things, Alan Williams. Either you're seeing what you have in corners and their ability to play man coverage or man up, or you already know and feel like they're dogs, they've proven themselves, and you're willing to do it. But Eddie is going to have to be on his spot. Eddie's going to have to be disciplined in his game, take true steps, backpedal first, and then make his move from there. right? Also, what we need to be mindful of, especially in power formations, right? So say we choose to do this versus a power I. Let's move the fullback in here, right? Quarterback under center. Say we choose to do this versus a power I. What we have to be mindful of is two things. We have to be mindful of play action, right? Play action, and them taking the shot and play action. So we'll run some kind of play this way, fake it, pull it. And if you take a false step here, I'm going back across the other side of the field for a big play, right? Or you have to be mindful of quarterbacks just simply dropping back and looking the free safety off. So again, you have to be disciplined. A quarterback can look this way and look opposite of the way he's going to throw the ball when you have single high safety to move that safety off his marks, right? And go back to the other side. You have to be really disciplined back there if we're going to do that. So that's my only concern if you're going to do that. Otherwise, I feel like we can play 8-man boxes. We have the athletes, right? We have the athletes to pull it off, right? I wasn't showing y'all that last part, but let me go back for what I was doing. Why didn't anybody tell me? All right. What I was saying right there is if we go to a power I look, right? We go to a power look and we run anything power or we run the ball to any side of the field and come back and you take false steps as a free safety because you're thinking we're going to run, right? You come in or you even go to this side of the field, the quarterback can come off play action and throw opposite side of the field, right? So again, Eddie's going to have to be disciplined, and regardless of what is happening down in the box, he's still going to have to take true steps and be on his mark regardless of what happens in the back. And he's going to have to trust his teammates, understanding, hey, I got an 8-man box, and no matter what happens down here, that's none of my business. My job is to backpedal first and then decide which way the ball is potentially going, right? And be on my mark at all times. Again, I wanted to point that out as what we're saying if we're going to do that, right? But again, I love the fact that the kid can play. Brisker can play in the box, right? He's athletic, he's rangy, he's tough, he's physical. I love all that. I love a fast, physical, attacking style defense. I don't want to sit back and just let teams drivers down the field for 80-yard drives and stuff like that. So I love the fact that we're doing that and how we're going to do it. Now, to my point earlier, right? In a traditional too high look, let's take a look at that real fast and see on this next kind of play right here, how that looks and what I was saying about our ability to stop the run versus that look. So I'm a little bit right hand dominant. So I'll go, let's cancel here. Let's go done. Let's run a 4-3, but we're going to shade it opposite. So one tech here, 1 0 2 3 3. We're going to shade the defense this side. We're going to call the strength to the play our right. Right? Let's bring our cornerbacks back out again. And again, at some point, the other thing that I would be concerned about is, listen, if we do get beat on the single high looks, we at some point, it's just a natural instinct for a defensive coordinator to say, hey, we're getting beat. I need to have safety help back across both sides of the field. And this is what you'll get. You'll get a too high safety look. It'll be cover 2. It could be cover 2, cover 4, cover 6, cover 5, depending on what it could be anything. But the too high safety look is make sure you have safety help over the top, right? And you can help both of the corners on the outside deep, outside, right? So what is the concern if we actually go with this look? And this is what I'm saying we're looking to solve first. Can we win with the front 7? And I thought that's what we would actually do this past week versus Kansas City. We would determine, can we win with our front seven, and then and then and then we would shift. Then we would shift to a single high look if we decided that we couldn't win with our front seven. So what is this? It's more of a question. What is Alan Williams actually telling us already in this preseason? If we plant majority 8-man box, is he telling us he wants to experiment with Jaquan Brisker, or is he telling us, hey, I've seen enough training camp footage, I've seen enough scrimmage footage, and I already know that we can't stop the run with 7 men up front. What is he telling us? I'm not leaning either way. I'm putting that out to the audience. I'm putting that out to the fans. What I want you to be looking out in tomorrow's game and help us kind of ruminate, help us decide, what is Alan Williams telling us about this defense already, right? Yes, Jaquan Brisker is a physical guy. Yes, he can tackle. Is he saying, hey, I'm going to attack because that's the style of defense I want to play? Or is he saying, hey, I'm having to play 8-man boxes because my 7 men can't stop the run, right? Then also, the last thing we need to decide also, if we can get teams off schedule, is, can these front 4 guys get there? Can these front 4 guys get there? Can Quinn, can Jones, can whoever's going to play the nose, Jones here, whoever's going to play the nose, Ken Gibson, can the combination of our pass rush, our front 4 guys, can they get there? Can they get home versus the quarterback with just 4-man rushes? Or are we going to have to bring guys in again, bring guys down in the box? Or are we going to have to add blitzers from the backers to the pass rush to be able to get home? The first drive versus KC, even though all our starters weren't out there, showed us that, those guys were just a step off. Those guys, a lot of those plays we saw, those guys were almost there. They were probably a millisecond or a second off from getting there and driving it home. So I wanted to pose those questions off of the film that I saw. Glad to hear what you guys have to say in response to that, and real fast, because I had a chance to do that. We're going to jump straight into our DM section and check some of the comments from the section.
It goes down in the DM. It go down.
All right, cool. I ain't want to get flagged again from the YouTube police. Nomad said, listen, I think he knows that he has front 4 that can get there, right? And don't disagree with that. I just think, we haven't seen the real guys yet. I'm interested in seeing, hopefully tomorrow, and I doubt it, but hopeful that we'll get a chance to see Quinn with this group so we can see how they look on the field together, right? Eberflus said about 10 to 15 plays, I believe, that our starters are going to get. So hopefully in that group will be Robert Quinn, and we'll get a chance to see him in that front 4 in a pass rush scenario. Because if they can't get home, again, we start playing with the numbers. We have to start playing with the numbers in terms of adding bodies to the pass rush. And it's similar to what we talk about all the time about offensive football, right? When you have to add running backs and tight ends to your protection plan, then it compromises your numbers on the back end. And therefore, you compromise the style of defense that you really want to play. And then you actually go in defensive mode, pun intended, right? You go into defensive mode because you can't do what you necessarily want to. Now the offense is dictating to you the style of play that they want you to play, and you're behind the 8-ball, proverbial speaking. Let's see. Nomad again, because Nomad's in the comment. I'm sure y'all going to have comments on the playback. Nomad said, whatever those corners have shown him in practice must have him giddy. you can pretty much make a team one. I think I understand the statement almost, but not really. But I will say this. I think we've had plenty of time, right, with those guys. I think he has plenty of time to decide what he has. And the approach that he's taking is, hey, I know what I got. I'm going to go into the season from the jump, play one, and I'm going to play my guys, and I'm going to get it done with my guys. I'm going to get it done with the front four. I'm going to get it done with 8-man boxes if I want to, not so if I have to. If I want to play 8-man box, I see I got to play an 8-man box. I'll do it if I want to. Or if I want to get an offense off schedule, I'll bring a guy down in the box. On a run play, we'll get a TFL, right? And we'll get the offense on schedule, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and then we'll make you like Nomad was just going to say, right? We were about to say at the same time, we'll make you one-dimensional, right? And now you got to play from behind the sticks, right? You have to play from behind the sticks, down in distance, and figure out what you're going to do. So I'm there with you, Nomad. I'm just posing the question, and then also offering the fans that don't necessarily watch football this way something to look out for, just to make it interesting. And even if we get cooked right there on the outside, then you'll understand why. You'll understand the whys of it. You understand the whys of what's happening, and then a little bit the chess game, that's fun to me. That's the fun part of football for me, making it a chess game, making it about moving bodies around. The strategic part of football is always interesting to me, like how I like to bring it to the fans and teach it to the fans. So that's all I have for you today, really, pretty much. I was pausing for a minute. Let me see if my guy's gonna be able to join us while we talking. If not, because I definitely wanted some input from my guy. But also, if not, we have a game tomorrow night. I'll cover and I'll provide footage for that game on Sunday. A breakdown on Sunday. So as always, it'll start with the offense, and then if we have to follow up, we'll follow up on another Wednesday show with the defense. But y'all know how I do with offensive concepts. I get a little bit long-winded because I like offensive football. That's just the way it goes. So if we get to it, if we can get to defense on Sunday and cover offense at the same time, we'll do that. What else did I forget? So something to look out for tomorrow. So I'm going to watch that tomorrow. Also, I'm going to cover real fast the Wk1 situation and see if I can buy myself some time. Listen, about Wk1, I know there's a lot of kind of heartache out there about Wk1's decision to sit in while they get a contract negotiated. And I like what Herb had to say about, the situation today, right? I'm of the same thought process. I don't like counting another man's money, right? Football is one thing. What you do on the field is not one thing. But when it comes to taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, all that football stuff go out the door for me, right? I'm a Bears fan just like anybody, right? I'm a big Bears fan like anybody else. But when it comes to a man's ability to take care of himself and take care of his family, you do what's best for you. I'm not going to disparage your name. I'm not going to call you out your name. I'm not going to say any of that. You do what's best for you. Whatever you feel your worth is, you absolutely do what's best for you. Now, to the point, do I think Wk1 and the agent situation is all above board? No, I really want Wk1 to potentially find an agent, find somebody he trusts. Because that's what part I think people are missing culturally. It's about finding somebody you trust. So many players have been screwed over by agents in the NFL. NFL approved agents have screwed players over when it comes to contract negotiations and their money. So find somebody you trust, Wk1, and then hopefully that person will be able to remove the numbers and get the deal done. But both shout out to Wk1 and Ryan Poles because one, Wk1 doesn't necessarily have to be in the building to sit in. It's the fact that the regime, the staff, are working with Wk1, meaning he's in the building, learning the plays, learning the playbook, being in there with his teammates in meetings, although he's not on the field, right? Understanding what has to happen when he has to get out on the field and play ball. So shout out to him for being there, but then also shout out for Ryan Poles for being patient enough and allowing him to that leeway while they're figuring out, understanding that it's a player negotiating his own deal and it's going to get emotional and not jumping off the cliff and then just, you know what I'm saying, being overly emotional too and responding to emotion with emotion and then causing it to be a mess. No, they're working with him. Roquan's traveling with the team today. He's going to be in Seattle. I believe they'll get things done, but I also believe in Ryan Poles that if they don't get things done, he's going to get a good deal out of situation, and perhaps the team that signs with Raquan is going to give him the money he's desired, and he can go on with his life, and the Bears will be fine because we'll have a first rounder, perhaps probably late, and then we'll have potentially a star, hopefully, or we'll have a package of picks that will come in and help this team build for the future. So I'm of that mindset, man. I'm not in the process. I'm not in the mindset that I'm gonna count another man's money, and I'm definitely not gonna disparage him and stop, bringing up all this other stuff that has nothing to do with his ability on the field, especially when he hasn't done anything illegal per se when it comes to violating the law and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to NFLPA, him allegedly having somebody call about trade requests, again, that's all alleged. None of us can approve who it was, what it was. So, as far as I'm concerned, there's no need for me to even comment on that, right? Because if it was something that they found out that was done by him or somebody on his team, then obviously he would be getting punished by the league. But you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Shout out to Matty Matt, one of the day one A1s, follower on Twitter, and then also on the channel, man. I appreciate you, bro, always supporting. Nomad said, I'll put this comment up because we're talking on the topic and we're having a conversation, family. I'm a pro player. Pro player. I'm sorry. He said I'm not a pro player. He said I'm pro player and also not one to be chiming in on a man's wallet. He's an elite linebacker and has earned his keep. Yeah, man. Listen, within reason, pay him. If it's within reason, pay him. I'm a Bears fan, so don't break the bank. Don't break, especially when you got to pay Fields, especially when you got to pay a star at some point. You're going to pay your offensive tackle of the future. You're going to have to pay certain players in certain positions and lock them up, right? Don't break the bank on Roquan. I'm not with that. But again, I'm not so invested that I'm gonna be like, oh, Roquan ain't this and Roquan ain't that. You know what I'm saying? He ain't this, ain't that, because he's not doing what I want him to do. That's that man's business, right? That's that man's life. You know what I'm saying? This is not the night. This ain't the 1800s, bro. We got to get out that mentality. This ain't the 1800s, right? Where guys just on the field as commodities and they just do what you want them to do. Even for the NFL, they don't have to. Those dudes can walk away from the game. They literally can walk away from the game with some of the money they made and start other careers. And people that stand on principle, like Herb said, like Roquan, you have to be careful with people like that because just out of spite, right? I know people like that. I'm one of those people. Just out of spite, I'll just be like, all right, I got money in the bank. Screw you. I'll find a job in 3 weeks. I've never been one to be like, tolerate for disrespect or something like that from a job or employer. That's why I keep money in the bank so I can walk away perhaps when I get ready. So it is what it is, man. I beat that dead horse. Nomad Post said they will reward their homegrown talent. Roquan is definition of absolutely, man, absolutely. But also, I'll say this, man. Colin Cowherd made a great point today about it being the Steph Curry decision. Like the Bears are in the moment where Steph, when Golden State had to choose between Steph Curry and Monte Ellis, right? And they had to decide, all right, I can go with this guy that's potentially going to be the star of the future and shift directions, meaning we can continue to pay linebackers in Chicago, or we can have a star quarterback, keep him on our roster for the foreseeable future, and see some star winning quarterback play. Yes, finally. We can see some star quarterback play and you know what I'm saying, see how it goes. So from there. Great time to chime in, Swift, because I was just on the Roquan take. Shout out to my boy Swift, who just joined us from fresh off of work. I appreciate you, my guy. Can you hear me? I don't have audio, bro. I see you talking, but I don't have audio.
I was muted.
There
I
you
didn't
go.
want
There
to.
you
I didn't want any loud noises when I came in.
go. Yeah. So fresh off the Roquan tape, man. Go ahead. I already know your position, but let the people know.
Well, what are we talking? We're talking about Roquan right now.
Yeah.
So what about him? Like,
But I said I basically lined up because we had the spaces earlier with Herb, right? And
okay,
I take the same position Herb did. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to count the man's money. I could care less. The thing that I care the most about for Roquan is I think and Herb pointed this out, the catalyst in us either making a decision and getting something done or not is Roquan finding an agent that he trusts that's going to represent him and removing himself from it. And then Ryan and that person can get down to making a decision on whether to move forward with him, right? To get him within the right number, or that we move on. My whole point is let's get to a decision because I don't think it's either way it's going to be bad for Chicago. Like either decision is not going to, we either going to come away with players and picks or we're going to have Roquan.
true. I mean, the thing is, I don't worry about his pocket either. Like how much money he makes it does not matter to me. What matters to me is the decisions he's making and how those affect him, his career, how people look at him, and even like I said, and this is the part I want to talk to you about is maybe it doesn't affect his leadership on the field, but when people see the kind of decisions people make and the way they are influenced by people around them, that can affect a person to say, man, I don't know if I want to follow that guy. I don't know if I want to be like that guy. The decisions Roquan's making now are just awful. They're immature. They're incredibly just out there. It's not just him trying to get his money. It's the way he's going about it. Tampering, throwing his GM under the bus when you guys, they can say like, you can take shots at polls all you want. Not you, but like the people who say, you know, polls, I've heard a couple of takes or polls hasn't done nothing yet. Like, listen, there are emotions involved with this contract, especially when you're talking about one of this magnitude. He's talking about being the highest paid linebacker in NFL history. Okay.
Right.
There are feelings and emotions involved here that are personal that Roquan himself, it's impossible to remove those emotions from this negotiation and how he views himself. Because Roquan, anybody that's a great linebacker, they're going to view themselves as one of the best of all time, right?
Right.
That's the personality they have. We're not going to pay you like you're the best linebacker in the entire planet. You
Right.
have to do something that makes sense. They can get it to where, and that's where it's not really about the money. It's just about the way he's going about it right now.
Right.
And so far, he's making decisions that if I'm a teammate and I'm on his team, I might be like, yo, Roquan, like, get your money, dude. But what are you doing right now? Like,
Yeah. See, I was just about to take it there, right? I was going to say, let's take it from the locker room all the way up to the GM's office. To me, if I'm in that locker room, there's going to be about 10% of the players that care in the terms of, yeah, Roquan, you tripping, but players are pro players. They're going to be like, bro, get your money. We don't care if you here or not, right? We got to play on
I'm with
Sunday.
that.
We got to play on Sunday. We're going to get a game check on Sunday anyway. And if I'm not focused, if I'm not tuned into this team, if I'm not locked into the guy that's to my left and right, if I it's almost a mentality, right? In order for me to protect myself and play the best that I can, I almost gotta have a compartmentalize and say, listen, when I step between those lines, it's F Roquan and what he got going on. I gotta play for, you know what I'm saying, Sanborn. I gotta play for Anderson. I gotta play for the guys around me in that front seven of this defense at that moment. While we in the locker room, hey, bro, just like Robert Quinn said, or the other players said, we talk about it all the time. We're open about it, but that's the other part I was gonna say, because I think a lot of times people are forgetting both on the GM side, the regime side, and Roquan side. He's in the building. He's in meetings. He's
That
talking.
makes
He's
it
on
more
the.
awkward right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird as hell because he
That's
throws
the
out.
thing, and that's my biggest point here. Okay, is there's ways that GMs could handle this, right? And most GMs aren't gonna bend their back to take care of a player. They have their way, and they treat all players the same. GMs kind of have that, that the school teacher mentality sometimes, where they want to treat everybody the same. They don't want to give you special treatment just because you're the best player. They've
Right.
been giving Roquan special treatment.
Well, I
When
like.
was the last time you had a player on the PUP list, healthy, negotiating a
But
contract in Chicago? Like,
but
do you
not
remember
but
one?
not but not getting fined. See, that's why
Exactly. He's
that's
still
but
not
that's
getting fined.
but that's why I kind of give him credit because okay, you know Roquan is emotional. If you respond with emotion, the thing's gonna get ugly and blow up, right? So they've tousled back and forth. Roquan showed up. He's done everything except for a step on the field and practice. And that's, hey, I don't want to get hurt in the last year of my deal because my value is never going to be higher than it is right now. I'm 25 years old. I'm never going to make as much money as I will either here or somewhere else right now. So both of them have done well. They could have easily be like, hey, go home, bro. We don't need you. You're going to be a distraction in the building, blah, blah, blah. We don't want you here. It's just being good on both of them. I just feel like, and I felt I heard it for the first time, somebody say, hey, man, the catalyst is, listen, I don't care about how much you want, right? I don't care about, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, how you perceive. Because when you're a type A personality, bro, Roquan don't care what we think. Players generally, I'm just going to be honest with you. Players assign autographs and all that stuff because it's the right thing to do. Players don't care about what fans think, right? They type A personalities, right? They don't care. What they care about
True.
at the
One
end
of
of the
the
day
good
is
points, though.
when I walk away
Uh,
from this, am I going to be healthy? When I walk away from this game, am I going to be healthy? Can I retire my mama? And am I ever going to have to work again? for at least 2 or 3 generations. That's it. Am I going to be suicidal when I leave the game? Can I retire my mama? And can I say my ABCs? You got it, bro.
I think Cornelius said it right there. Like, it's not. It's also a thing with Roquan. It's not just. You have to kind of look at the whole picture of if you pay him to be one of the highest paid linebackers in NFL history, then like he said in his little his little thing he tweeted about the Bears, then he needs to be one of those guys he's talking about, an Urlacher, a Briggs, a Singletary. So far, as good as Roquan has been, he's had some weird issues. He held out his rookie year. He had his playbook stolen. He was partying with strippers. He was accused of some serious stuff this offseason that I'm not even going to bring up, but
Right.
there's a lot of things, other little things that, and now this is his second time holding out
Yeah.
in
But
5 years. Like,
Herb said that right early on. He said, "Listen," he said, "Be careful." And this is why I identify. This is why I identify with him, Swifty. He said, "Be careful because I know Roquan to be a principled person, and I'm a principled person too. Like, it's no amount of money you can offer me if you disrespect me. Like I was just saying early on the show, if I'm on a job and I feel disrespected, I will literally leave on principle alone. Like I will leave like, hey, I got money in the bank. I got passive income.
The problem is in the NFL, you can't do that. You can't just walk away from your team.
But
You can't be an
he can't
Antonio
leave.
Brown. You'll get written off. Like you can hold out. You can't just walk out the building though,
Right.
or
What I'm
walk
saying,
off the
but
field. Like
he can walk away from the game. That's what like principled people they think
he's
on
not
extremes. You can walk away from the game. You could be like, all right, bro. You know what I'm saying?
he's not retiring.
I'm not saying he will, but I'm just saying you have to be mindful of that's. I'm trying to bring you into the thought process. It's like, okay, it's that extreme for me. It's okay. I believe this is my principle, and I'm gonna stand on principle, and I will take the extreme measure to make a point. Totally emotional, total, whatever, call it what you want to, but on principle, we saw that with people like that. We saw. I hate to put him in the category with Antonio Brown. But let me ask you this, right? Why didn't Derwin James get that kind of flack? Because he just signed
He
his
didn't
deal.
throw his team under the bus. He was just holding in, and he didn't make it a media circus. Roquan's the one who made this a media circus. He's the one who went to the media, and not only did he just go to the media and say he doesn't ever see himself playing in Chicago again, but he also multiple times in that short message he wrote took shots at the front office. They don't value me. They don't they don't respect me.
I just
It's always take it or leave it. If it was take it or leave it, like he said, then it also in the like 2 sentences later, he said, we've been negotiating since April. You've been negotiating since April. What kind of negotiating have you done if it's just take it or leave it? Like, obviously there was some negotiating there. And the biggest point is everyone wants Roquan to get paid. I want Roquan to get paid. Every player in the clubhouse wants Roquan to get paid. That's not the thing. It's just Roquan is just being weird with this whole
yeah,
situation. There are ways you see other guys in the NFL. Debo got his money. DK got his money. None of them went to social media and took shots at their team. You know what I mean? When their GM was working with them.
yeah. I mean, we already decided last week. Me and Swifty are on opposite ends of the spectrum on this one, but always, bro. Y'all missed it, bro. If you're not on Twitter, you be missing some of the juiciest debates, like the biggest ones,
I'm
right?
about to not be on Twitter anymore. That place is Twitter just
Listen,
dumb sometimes, man.
I'm gonna tell you, man. In the last, Swifty had to talk me off the edge, bro. I want to say over the last 2 weeks, especially with all the life stuff I got going on, bro. Swifty, I mean, literally. Did you see the tweet today by old boy?
Who?
Kind of bullying the dude, man. Man, I'm a
Oh
sit.
yeah, I retweeted. I was like, just some guy said he was happy about
He was
training
happy
camp.
about getting an autograph and talking to the players.
Yeah, he talked to Roquan. Yeah, and this guy, that guy, I've already had beef with that guy before. He's one of those dudes on Twitter who just they think they're cool because they got a blue check mark. It's like,
Yeah. I had a run in with him a while back, but I hadn't seen his name since. And I came this close. Matter of fact, it's in my email box. I came this close to giving him drunk uncle for doing that. I just was like, man, I just don't have the energy for it today. You know what I'm saying?
I only saw it because Vil retweeted it, man.
I
Vil
saw
was on
all
him a
y'all
little bit.
retweeted, and again, I started to say something when I saw it. I just don't have the energy for bitter. That's Bears Twitter. If y'all don't understand what bitter is, Bears Twitter has been renamed as bitter. I want to circle back real fast, Swift, because my defensive film study, and I understand it. I understand it. I understand teams are going to play 8-man boxes. I was just surprised, right? I was just surprised because this is a defensive focused show. We'll slide and talk about offense on Sunday. I was surprised that what I'm saying. Alan Williams committed quickly to the 8-man box. He was like, "Look, f that. I ain't playing. I know what I got. Brisker, get down there and get dirty. Get in the box. Make things happen. Make plays.
Well, I
Roll
mean,
with it."
that's
Now,
also that's one of his biggest strengths, though, too.
right.
That's one of his strengths. He's so good down in that box. The angles he takes in the run games, the way he diagnoses the offense and reads the play as it's happening. He's just so good at that. And not Roquan. we're talking about Roquan too much. Brisker is going to be special, man. I just love him, and that's
Listen,
I,
I
I think we
love
might
it.
be overreacting to it a little bit because they might just want to see what he could do out there in the box and live film in the NFL. I
Right,
mean,
right.
there's a
No,
lot
no.
of stuff, a lot of
Some,
young guys out there too. So
somebody said something when I tweeted it earlier, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm reviewing the film, surprised to see 8-man box. It wasn't you. And I was like, bro, they were like, well, I wouldn't get into the prediction. Listen, people, let me ask you this. When we look at film, we take out the time to look at film or break down film as DIY medias, right? We do research. Do y'all not expect us to have a take, right? I'm not saying we want y'all to agree, but do you not want us to have a take at all or make a prediction or even bring up a lot of it is just bringing up content is conversation, right? So if I say, hey, I was surprised to see a lot of 8-man boxes, but understanding the strengths of the player, I wasn't. So even if we do that, the question is, and I asked this on the spaces earlier today, if we're gonna play 8-man boxes a lot of times like that, and I don't mind, do we trust Eddie to be on his marks? Because if we're gonna be 8-man in box, we're gonna be single high safety. Eddie's gonna have to be disciplined, right, in his steps and be on his marks. Because play action or a look off of the safety, one way throw back the other, and if that corner gets burnt, like somebody said earlier, wide receiver gonna hit his head on the goalpost. How you feel about Eddie being back there on the island?
I think Eddie, I think he has the potential, but I think also I think you're going to see a lot of disguised looks too. One of the reasons I think he's going to like bringing Brisker down in the box is because they want you to think that Brisker's going to be in the box all the time, and he can come up and line up and bring the 8-man in the box and then bounce out, and he still has that speed to get back and still play over the top if needed.
Yeah, and he did, and he did. I don't want to make it sound like he played 8-man boxes the majority of the game. He did. He showed two zone. He showed two man. He showed straight up man. He showed cover three. He showed cover three match and probably some disguises and some coverages that I don't even understand. You know what I'm saying? I did see one. I did see one too high cover three invert. I did recognize that one, which is where he rolled his safety underneath, like he played. It's set up as cover a too high coverage, but he rolled his safety underneath the cover three guy to kind of rob the flat, so to speak. I was like, that was pretty cool. Like that was pretty dope. I hadn't seen that. I hadn't seen that in Chicago in a minute. So I just want to throw that out there. And then also again, it's conversation, man. It's giving fans something to look at. It's giving something to keep your eye on. So hey, if something does happen on the back end, you know what I'm saying? You get to say, oh man, you know what? We said that might happen, so you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's cushioning the blow a little bit. But overall, I thought when we talk about hits principle, right? We talk about hustle, intensity, what was T? Tenacity, playing smart, like assignment, alignment, following your keys. I felt like everybody was on it. The run fits, they were on it. Their run fits were working perfectly. Everybody was hitting their run fits. We didn't give up a big play other than the big touchdown, right? I thought that was a big throw against a too high look from Patrick Mahomes. But other than that, we turned the ball over. So I feel like we got a lot more to work with. I'm anxious tomorrow to see if Quinn is going to get to play, Kyler Gordon is going to get to play, the guys that we haven't seen. If those guys are going to get to play, I didn't see Eddie on Sunday, so maybe Eddie. And then our offensive stars, we didn't see Cole, we didn't see Valus, we didn't see the fullback. We have still so much to show on offense. I don't want to make this
Players that
offensive.
missed the game.
That's right, Jordan. Jordan, that's right. Cover three buzz, man. You're right.
Yeah, Riley Reef missed it too. I mean, we had a lot of people out that game. So
Yep. Shout out to Jordan for that cover three buzz. He buzzed the safety underneath the cover three coverage, man. And I was like, bro, we hadn't seen that one in a while. All good things, man. All good things that we saw on this week, man. So, what you think, Swift? What you looking forward to tomorrow?
Well, obviously, the 6 plays that the first team offense is going to play. I'm always looking forward to seeing that. I really
Big
want to see Kyler Gordon. I can't wait to see Kyler Gordon out there, and I want to see more from the young guys. Jack Sanborn, the second team offensive line. I want to see Tevin Jenkins at right guard. I want to see Jenkins come out and just maul people all game. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to. Also, we'll have a couple more receivers. I'm hoping this week. I'm hoping Valus plays. Pringle's not going to play. Um, obviously, Fields is what I want to see all the time, but I want to see Gordon and Brisker in the same secondary. I think that'd be amazing. And then the same guys I'm watching last week. I want to see a little bit more of Jack Sanborn. I want to see DeMarquise Gates. He played really well last week, and I'd like to see him have another good week on that defensive line. I hope Mario Edwards could play. I'd like to see him in there. The defensive tackles played well. I thought Tonga played good. I want to see more Dominique Robinson. He got worked with the ones this week in practice after that good game last week. It'd be nice to see Cole Kmet out there too. That'd be a good
Yeah,
thing.
I think the main thing offensive wise, I'm gonna have my eye on is definitely Tevin Jenkins at the right guard, man. Shout out to that. Shout out to Swift. I gave Swift his props, man. I don't know if you remember that for the Braxton Jones take, Braxton
Oh
Jones
yeah.
scouting report. I still feel like he's going to take some lumps just because it's an 18-game season, and you're going to see something you haven't seen. But I feel like we're heading towards that V12 offensive line that I talked about over the summer and the spring, especially when we get Patrick back, right?
Oh yeah. We need him back.
So what I would like to see tomorrow, honestly, I would like to see a scoring drive from our offense. Just points. It don't even have to be a touchdown. Put together a drive where it results in points and get those guys off the field. And then I just want to see our new stars play together. I want to see our new stars on defense mixed with our old stars. And I want to just see some good football, man. Give us something to talk about on Friday. Imagine that, bro. We get to talk about the game on Friday and all weekend, and y'all get to debate on Twitter, and you know what I'm
It's
saying?
going to be good. I mean, it's a Thursday night game. It's only 4 days rest here. It is going to be kind of a long couple weeks after this with only one game and like 3 weeks left until the season after this. But I mean, we got 2 games in 5 days here, and we get to see a lot of our young guys and see what they can do on the field. Obviously, I think this is going to be a big game for a lot of our younger players and guys trying to make the roster. Obviously, the starters, the ones that have their jobs locked down, those guys are going to play 6 to 9 plays, and that's about it. Like, they're out early. And
Yeah.
then all these guys who we've been watching tape on all off season and scouting, and a lot of the new guys we've signed to, even like I mentioned, that DeMarquise Gates, someone who we've just added recently, but has a lot of potential, and you kind of want to see play. We're going to get to see a lot of these guys play a lot. So that's what I'll be watching, is how these guys develop and how this
These
back end of our roster kind of
these
shapes up.
the fringe the fringe guys will get a lot of looks because when do they cut the roster down again? Now we're down to 85 players.
We'll cut it down to another 5. I think it's either next Monday or Friday. It's after this game, so I think it's next Monday.
So the fringe guys, Swifties on it. Those fringe guys will get their look, plenty of plays on this, and then we have that last preseason game versus Cleveland, and then you know what time it is, bro. It's take out the war paint, break out all of your gear, put up your flags. I was thinking about getting my truck wrapped this year, but I'm not gonna do it, man. That'd be a little bit too much, man. But shout out to you, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I definitely appreciate all the support, man. I'm Coach T, man. That's your boy, Swifty. Swifty done expanded past the top scout in the business, bro. We done promoted him to GM of all Bears DIY Twitter. I don't know what to say, man. This man is all. I look up on the internet. This man is all on the internet, man. I'm like, that's my dude.
Oh, you see me on that show the other day?
Yeah, bro. Y'all was
I did that, man.
Y'all was too funny.
That was a funny show, man. I wanted to say shout out real quick. Nomad, I see you out there. Cornelius, Jordan, I see you guys in the chat. What's up, man?
Yeah, that's what's up, man. All the Swiftyites in the building, man. Make sure if you haven't If you're watching this on the replay, do me a favor, man. Go over and sub to the channel, man. Swifty probably at about 6,000 strong over there. How many members you got now, Swift? How many members?
How many subs? Members?
Yeah.
I don't know, like 20 members. I don't know.
Yeah, about 20 members, about 5,000, 6,000 subs, man. The numbers are still running up, man. And we only I'm 10 months in. Swifty about what?
I started in April before the draft.
Yeah.
Got about 4 or 5 months. That's
right. We get it in, man. So, look, man, if you're watching this on the playback, do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter, Bears360_Coach T. And then also Swifty at Swift
Sports Network.
Swift Sports Network. Y'all can find us on that, man. I appreciate everybody in the chat, man. We'll see y'all on Sunday. Until then,
bear down, y'all.
Y'all bear down. We'll talk to y'all soon.